Hey, all, Mark Slane with the United States Krav Maga Association. Today's subject is if you're teaching or even learning self-defense, research. Do some research. Uh, I guess something as I get older that I notice more and more is that people, they believe things simply because they were told to believe that. That's what somebody told them was the truth, or even because they want to believe that, um, no matter what the evidence says. And to me, this is just a head scratcher. I guess I've always been a truth seeker. Um, I think several examples of this. I've got a relative. He sprays um, weed killer and Roundup and all that stuff constantly. I mean, the man's in love with it. He's spraying it everywhere on everything. He kind of lives out in the country, so he hits it hard. I've sent him 18 or 20 articles, scientific based, that show, hey, don't get that stuff on your skin. You don't really want it going down into your well water. Um, you're going to get cancer, blah, blah, blah. And even with, many, many articles written by scientists, he still does it. He doesn't care. He believes what he wants to believe, regardless of what anything else says. And, many things over my life, I believed one thing because basically it's probably what I was told to believe by others. I researched it and changed my mind completely. My mother's age, people in her generation, they believe doctors are God. They're just good people. They care about us. Other people believe doctors are evil. They're just spokespeople for the drug companies. Whether you believe one thing or the other, why? Did you research it? I researched that entire thing and changed my mind completely. There are doctors, you can look this up, being arrested, being caught, telling people they have cancer who don't, so they can make the money off the chemo. That's evil. They are out there. People, a group of people can't all be good. There's got to be some bad apples. Absolutely. Um, you got vaxxers and anti-vaxxers. Well, why do you believe one or the other? One side believe, oh, doctors again, they're taking care of us, and the government wouldn't lie. The other one, oh, it's a conspiracy. The government's evil. Why do you believe one or the other? Just because you want to believe one of those things? Do some research. Again, I changed my mind completely on that subject after researching it, because I was open to do so. Oh, we can go into all the conspiracies. 9/11. Some people, oh, our government would never harm us. The other side, oh, our government's evil. Don't just believe one of those things. Research 9/11 and come up to your own choice. I just don't understand people who have opinions on anything who haven't looked into them, who haven't researched them. Which brings us to the self-defense. Self-defense world, there's a lot of weird stuff in it. There's a lot of stuff I look at and cringe. I'm like, you really believe that? You're going to listen to this guy tell you to do it, then you're going to do it, and then you're going to be a believer in it? Go research some things. Right now there are a lot of Krav Maga organizations taking out our choke with a pluck, where we're standing there not being pushed. And, they say a realistic attack, they come up with power, they rush you, they're going to knock you backwards when they choke you. And that makes sense to me, but what am I basing that on? My experience. How many times have I been choked in real life? Never. I don't think. Maybe when I was a kid, my brother did. I don't know. I can't base it on what I think. I've got to research this. Hence, if you saw the blog I did a few months ago, it was called Talk to a Cop. Talk to a cop. 80-90% of the chokes they ever see are domestic situations where he is choking her right there, looking her in the eyes, wants her to see the power, wants to see the fear. There's no pushing on that. So what we're saying is it's not a realistic attack, is the most realistic attack that's seen when you research it. Things like this are crazy to me. I've been to knife and stick seminars where we spend a third of the time on takeaways. And our knife and stick, we don't spend much time at all on takeaways because I've researched this. If you go look at videos and talk to cops, people don't hang on to things when you're whooping on them. My buddy Sergeant Brandon Hicks in his law enforcement career, and he was in a pretty bad part of town. He thumped a lot of people. I got to think probably hundreds of people he had to thump in the line of duty, of course. But he told me only two ever hung on to whatever they had in their hand. Only two ever. So why do I need to spend a third of my time doing takeaways in these things? It doesn't make sense to me. There's a women's self-defense system out there that teaches a woman to fall to the ground and use her legs to kick the attacker off. Research, attacks on women. Is it always one person? Can it be more than one? Is it often more than one? Well, then I don't want her falling to the ground using her legs if there's two or three of them. That's just bad tactics. That's just stupid. That's not right. Research what a real attack is. And I'm certainly not picking on any one individual group, but I've got a group of ground-based fighters who they tell me that's the ultimate in self-defense. I can think of 7 or 8 right off the top of my head, ground guys that I know in a bar situation took somebody down only to be stabbed or have that guy's buddy kick them in the head. I don't want to be on the ground wrapped up with a guy if he's got friends around. Research it. You can see this all the time. again, yes, it's very important to know the ground. But man, to be in love with the ground and to be told that that's the ultimate self-defense, that's where I want to be, this is going to work. I'm not going to take a sports-based system and have someone tell me that it's the most awesome ground stuff there is. In my own life, I was a fourth degree black belt in Taekwondo before I ever saw Krav Maga. Um, I was told that was the ultimate in self-defense. Yeah. All I got to do is research what an attack looks like. And we're in the age of information. We have the internet. You can go right now and go look at real knife attacks, from closed circuit television cameras. You can look at, attacks on women, unfortunately. You can see, gangs attacking people. We can go see this stuff for real. And to be able to see that and then see a defense that I'm being taught and say, that wouldn't work for that, well, then why would I learn it? Why would I teach it to others is the scary thing. My Taekwondo, I needed space. I needed to be able to move. I needed to use my legs. Our knife defenses were even leg-based. Oh my gosh, I can go look at a realistic knife attack and realize that that was stupid. What I was learning was not the ultimate in self-defense. It was a pretty poor self-defense, in my opinion, now that I look back. But as a fourth degree, I had Taekwondo gyms. That was my livelihood. Very few people at that level are willing to research something to tell them that, no, this really isn't what you thought it was. You really should be doing something else. But again, I've always been a truth seeker. I don't want to teach people this is the ultimate in self-defense when I can easily research it and find out, no, it really isn't. No, it's not. Again, we can see realistic knife attacks. When your instructor's trying to show you a knife defense, go home, look at it on TV, what a real knife attack is, and it's like, that's not going to work. It's crazy the stuff I see in the knife defense world. Figure fours and moving here, moving there. Go look at a realistic attack. The dude, it's like a hockey punch. It's a sewing machine needle. And I don't even like calling that a realistic knife attack. I think as Rory Miller said, he's been stabbed, or someone tried to stab him 4 or 5 times, and none of them were like a realistic knife attack. But if he wouldn't have blocked it, he'd have got stabbed. That would have felt pretty real. Again, we're in the age of information. Whatever you think, whatever defenses you're learning, whatever, basically in my head, anything, research it. Don't come to an opinion on anything. Research it. And, I realize we're loyal to our gyms, and it's a head scratcher to me that, people are telling me they got the #1 instructor in the world, and it's the best art in the world. Well, wasn't that convenient that gym was only 2 hours or 2 miles from your house, and that's the one your mom and dad signed you up for when you were 8 years old? What a coincidence. Yes, we fall in love and we're loyal to people, but man, this is self-defense. When people come to learn from you, they are literally putting their lives in your hands. You'd better be teaching the most up-to-date, battle-tested, researched stuff you can find. Mark Schlang, United States Krav Maga Association.